There are 90 days between the man you are and the man you are destined to become. 90 days of deliberate action, mental discipline, and spiritual command. In these days, you will learn not only how to fix your aim upon a definite goal, but how to command your thoughts, your words, and your step until your goal is bound to you. You will learn the principles that have made men like Carnegie, Edison, and Ford immortal in achievement. You will be given the exact steps, mental, physical, and spiritual, to remove hesitation, kill fear, and install certainty as your new identity. But understand this. This is not a talk for entertainment. This is instruction for transformation. Drift for even a moment and you will miss the key that was meant for you. Watch it all, absorb it all, and by the end, you will not merely hope for your dream, you will possess it in spirit and then in sight. Now begin. There is no man living who achieves the object of his desire through accident or by the favor of fate. Success is not won by hope, nor is it bestowed by chance. Success is the offspring of law, divine, unwavering, invisible law. The dream you carry within your breast was not planted there to torment you, but neither will it arrive without discipline. The law demands that you believe before the world shows you reason to. It demands that you commit not with lip service, but with identity, long before the applause comes, long before the harvest appears. This, my friend, is the first law of achievement, the law of invisible commitment. The next 90 days are not simply a span of time, they are a sacred commission. You have been handed the power to seal your identity with a vow that does not consult conditions. A man cannot walk into his future while dragging the shadow of his hesitation. The dream belongs only to him who moves as if it has already been delivered, not hoped for, not imagined, but secured, signed by decision. While the masses wait for a sign, the great ones move because of one, the sign within which says, "This is who I am." It was so with every man who shaped the world instead of merely observing it. Andrew Carnegie was not yet a baron of steel when he began to carry himself as one. The mills had not yet risen, the fortune had not yet flowed, but in his step and in his speech, he already belonged to the empire he envisioned. He acted from the summit, not toward it. He did not move like a man chasing wealth. He moved like a man confirming it. Thomas Edison, long before the electric lamp illuminated cities, wandered in the dark with the certainty of one who knew light would answer to his call. He did not require proof to act. He acted, and proof bent its knee to his audacity. And Henry Ford, he did not wait for popular support or public understanding before building an industrial empire. While others laughed, he labored. While they doubted, he declared. While they asked for guarantees, he gave himself fully to an idea only he could see. These men did not begin with results. They began with identity. They walked, spoke, and acted from the vision they carried, not the circumstances they faced. Their victories were not the result of chance, but of obedience to the law. This is the same law that governs you now. You may believe yourself to be waiting on resources or timing or permission. You are not. You are waiting to become the man who deserves the dream. And that man is not created in 90 years, but in 90 days of relentless identity. Let me be plain. The next 90 days are not about effort alone. A man can labor with his hands and still be lost in spirit. This is not a call to busyness. It is a summons to belief. Your work must begin in the invisible. The vow must be sealed not by action, but by identity. You must decide now, this very moment, that the man who owns the dream already lives inside you and that you will no longer delay his emergence. Belief is not a feeling. It is not a mood, nor a passing wind of inspiration. Belief is a vow. It is the solemn decision to behave as though the outcome is already yours. It is a command to the spirit, not a reaction to circumstance. You must no longer ask, "What if it does not happen?" but declare instead, It has already happened, and I walk accordingly. This first step is not a step at all. It is a stance, a way of standing, a way of seeing, a way of moving. You are not practicing for your future. You are performing from it. Your stride must not reflect the past. It must obey the vision. Speak now as the man who owns the result. Dress as him. Decide as him. Walk as him. For he is not far off. He is formed by your repetition. Each morning rise not as a man uncertain, but as a man already crowned. Declare aloud your definite chief aim, not with question, but with command. Let your voice ring like a trumpet calling your destiny to attention. There is power in spoken word. The subconscious does not respond to logic. It responds to declaration. Do not whisper. Do not ask. Command. Say to yourself before the sun has kissed the sky, my name is Abba. My aim is. It is already written, and I walk accordingly. And then walk. Move into your morning with the bearing of a man who has already shaken hands with the future. Each hour of each day becomes sacred ground when it is walked with conviction. But beware, the danger does not come only from doubt. It comes from delay, from the subtle suggestion that missing one day is of no consequence. I warn you, drifting is not always dramatic. It is quiet, it is slow, but it is deadly. One skipped day becomes two. Two become a week. And soon you are back among the walking dead, those who once believed, but now only remember. You must treat these next 90 days as a sacred covenant. This is not a trial. It is a transformation. You are not trying to become someone. You are obeying the someone already inside you. The dream was never outside you. It has always waited for the moment when you would step forward and claim it, not with hope, but with heat, not with theory, but with action. And so I say to you now, walk. Do not wobble. Do not wonder. Walk. Let each step carry the certainty of a man whose name is already engraved on the gate of success. You have 90 days to change your world. Begin not with effort, but with identity. Affirm, I walk as if my dream has already welcomed me. Affirm, my vow is stronger than my fear. Affirm, the man I must become is the man I already am. Now rise and speak, then move. The clock is not your enemy. The clock is your servant if you use it with devotion. Let today be day one, not of your dream, but of your reign. A man may possess ambition as high as the heavens and faith as deep as the oceans. But if he permits his surroundings to remain ordinary, those surroundings shall drag him down to their level. Environment is not neutral. It is suggestion made visible. It whispers to the soul in ways the conscious mind cannot always detect. The chairs you sit in, the walls you stare at, the clothes you wear, the conversations that surround you, all of these are either allies to your ascension or accomplices to your defeat. And unless you command your environment, you will be commanded by it. No man becomes great in a space designed to keep him small. You must understand this. The world outside you constantly attempts to shrink the world within you. The dream, in its infancy, is delicate. It breathes through atmosphere. It lives off tone. And like fire, it either spreads when it is fed or dies when it is ignored. You cannot proclaim transformation while seated in the same throne of former stagnation. The walls remember your excuses. The furniture remembers your doubt. Even the mirror recalls your hesitation. Therefore, you must begin the renovation of your future with the reconstruction of your environment. Look to John D. Rockefeller. He was not born in grandeur. He did not begin with legions of assistants, nor did he rise because of inherited wealth. He began with a small ledger and a quiet room, but in that room, he ruled like a sovereign. He did not wait to be surrounded by success. He constructed it from the silence. His papers were kept with precision, his desk organized with reverence. His space was not loud, but it was loyal. It reflected not where he was, but where he was going. And so the world eventually followed suit. First the space bowed, then the city, then the nation. So it must be with you. If you do not believe your space has power, you have already surrendered. For every object in your view either affirms your future or afflicts it. You may believe the clothes on your floor are harmless. You may excuse the clutter on your desk, the unmade bed, the meaningless decorations from yesteryear, but each one of them is a silent sermon preached to your subconscious. They say nothing has changed. They say this man is still who he was. They say do not believe his declarations, believe his atmosphere. I say to you now, cleanse your temple. Eliminate every symbol that belongs to your past mediocrity. Remove the trophies of yesterday's smallness. Tear down the pictures that chain you to who you used to be. The future is not a place you stumble into. It is a place you prepare for. The environment must be built to fit the man you are becoming, not the man you are trying to escape. But this cleansing is only half the work. You must also install symbols of identity. Let there be visual reminders of the king you are becoming. Place before your eyes the words that echo your aim. Hang the decrees that reflect your destiny. I do not speak of mere decoration. I speak of sacred reinforcement. Write your aim in large letters and place it where you dress. Carve your vision into your walls if need be. Let every corner of your environment declare the truth, that this is not a man trying, this is a man transforming. In the same breath, create for yourself a ritual of vision. Every morning, before you permit the world to suggest who you are, declare it yourself through visualization. Close your eyes and see the man you are becoming, how he walks, how he speaks, how he is greeted. Do not imagine it once and then forget. Imagine it until it no longer feels like imagining. This is not fantasy, this is construction. The man who sees his destination daily cannot be detoured. 10 minutes each morning. That is the command. Before the noise of the day begins, sit in stillness and see yourself victorious. See your body strong, your mind precise, your decisions bold, your labor rewarded. See the room you live in change. See the income you desire as if it is already earned. See the men who now laugh silenced by your results. Not to boast, but to become. For the world outside, you must not set the tone. You must. Do not take this lightly. A man who permits his environment to remain casual has already decided to remain average. You must remake your space into a place of war and worship and work. It must become a battlefield of commitment. Every object should tell a story of identity. Every space should command respect from yourself first and from others by consequence. This principle is as old as achievement itself. The ancient kings did not wait to sit upon thrones, they built them. Even when their territory was small, they ruled with greatness. So too must you begin, not from size, but from sanctity. It is not the grandeur of your possessions that matters. It is their alignment with your vision. A humble room ruled with conviction is more powerful than a palace ruled with passivity. Let me offer this practice to you. As you prepare to rise each day, stand before your mirror, not to observe your reflection, but to install your identity. Speak aloud your affirmation. I am not shaped by my past. I shape the world to match my future. Look yourself in the eye when you say it, then say, my environment obeys the man I decide to be. Look again, not for flaws, but for fire. Then move. Clean what must be cleaned. Remove what must be removed. Post what must be posted. Walk into your world like it belongs to you. And I tell you this, soon it will. Affirm, I am not shaped by my past. I shape the world to match my future. My environment obeys the man I decide to be. I do not live in the world, I command it. I surround myself with only what strengthens my vow. I see my dream before I step into it, and so it appears. Let this be your daily vow. My room shall reflect my reign. And so we march forward, not just in mind, not just in speech, but in the very space that holds our mornings. For the world around you must bow to the world within you, if you are bold enough to build it. The world often speaks of goals in the language of years. Where do you see yourself in 5? They ask. What is your 10-year vision? They inquire. And while these questions sound noble, they are, in most cases, veils for delay. The calendar of achievement is not marked in years. It is carved in the stone of days. Days moved through with precision, with boldness, and with identity. One day ruled with certainty is of greater value than a year spent in drift. And 90 days of uninterrupted decision will birth more change in a man's life than a decade of half-hearted hoping. Understand this: time is not your friend if you treat it casually. Time respects the man who seizes it with urgency. You must not measure your dream by the turning of the calendar. You must measure it by the consistency of your movement. For most men do not fail because they lacked 10 years. They fail because they lacked 10 days in a row of decisive living. It is not the long stretch that defeats them. It is the repeated breaks in momentum, the small surrenders to distraction, the interruptions of identity. Let us speak plainly now. The next 90 days must not be seen as a season of effort. They must be seen as an oath. You are not here to try. You are here to transform. And transformation demands something that wishful thinking never will: focus. Deep, sustained, daily focus. That is the price. That is the path. And that is the promise. This 90-day journey is not about doing everything. It is about doing the one thing that matters with the soul of a man who knows he is already appointed. One aim, one identity, one daily ritual. Anything more will fracture your fire. Anything less will leave you cold. You are not here to chase many things. You are here to become one man. Let us speak of Andrew Carnegie. He did not chase 10 industries. He mastered one. His focus was so intense, his commitment so complete, that steel itself bent to his will. When others diversified out of fear, he consolidated out of faith. He believed in the power of singularity, one aim, one drive, one calling, and the world made room. The modern man is plagued with the disease of division. He speaks of balance, as if greatness ever arose from such a concept. But I say unto you, do not balance your life, build it. And building requires phases of obsession. These 90 days are not for dabbling. They are for devotion. You must now break forever the myth of multitasking. You are not a creature designed to split your soul across many altars. To divide your attention is to divide your results. A man cannot become great by touching everything lightly. He must grip his calling with such ferocity that all other distractions fall away by force. Every hour you give to the unessential is an hour stolen from your future. Every conversation that weakens your clarity is an enemy in disguise. Every errand of ease is a betrayal to your vow. Therefore, install within your life the lens of 90 days. See all things through it. Every decision must be filtered through the question, does this serve the man I have committed to becoming? If it does not, it must be discarded without apology. You do not owe loyalty to old habits. You do not owe time to small ambitions. For these 90 days, your life is a consecration. Your mission is sacred. Protect it as such. Now let us give form to this fire. You will choose one definite chief aim, not two, not three, one. You will write it, you will speak it aloud each morning. You will carry it in your pocket if need be. Then you will choose one identity, the version of yourself who already lives in the reality you seek. You will speak as him, walk as him, decide as him. There shall be no trial runs. You are not rehearsing, you are arriving. And then comes the ritual. Each night before you surrender to sleep, you will complete a journal. In this journal, you will record 3 specific movements made that day toward your aim. These must be real, measurable, undeniable. A letter sent, a task completed, a fear confronted, a connection made. Write it, cement it. This is not for inspiration. It is for tracking transformation. You will not drift when your day ends with the proof of your progress. This journal becomes your mirror. It will not lie to you. It will reflect either your movement or your excuses. And if on a day you find the page empty, know this: that was the day your dream waited and you were absent. Do not let such a day repeat, for the dream does not beg. It chooses the man who shows up with unrelenting regularity. Let us now speak affirmation, for words shape the soul, and repetition cements reality. Say aloud each morning and each night, I move like a man whose name is already written in the book of success. 90 days of identity will replace a lifetime of excuses. I do not hope, I hold. I am not trying, I am becoming. My aim is not a wish, it is a command. Each day I move forward, each night I prove it. My journal is my mirror, and my mirror shows a king. I walk as one already chosen. This is not effort, it is fulfillment. Today again, I am the man I declared to be. These are not mere words, they are spiritual armor. Wear them. You must understand this clearly. A man does not need 10 years to become extraordinary. He needs 90 days of total alignment. That is all. That is the secret. And I give it to you now without disguise. Do not squander it. Do not delay, and do not dilute it. The next part shall show you how to train your very body, your eyes, your voice, your posture, to match the spirit you are now building. Because it is not enough to think like a king. You must move like one. Shall we proceed? Clarity is not a gift. It is a conquest. It is not stumbled upon in moments of leisure, nor is it handed down by fate. It is seized boldly, deliberately, daily. The average man believes that one day clarity will arrive like a messenger from heaven, ringing the bell of purpose at his door. But the man who achieves understands that clarity must be summoned. It must be declared into being, for clarity is not found. It is forged in the furnace of declaration. Most men wander not because they are unworthy, but because they are silent. They drift not from lack of power, but from lack of personal decree. They have not spoken into the atmosphere what they are here to accomplish, and so the world treats them accordingly, like men of fog, not fire. They say they are waiting for inspiration, but what they are truly waiting for is the courage to choose. The courageous do not wait, they speak. And in their speaking, the path begins to form. Andrew Carnegie did not wait until he had factories before he declared dominion over steel. He did not wait for public approval or economic guarantee. He stood in his own soul and announced it. He said, in effect, this is what I shall build. This is who I am. The world may not see it yet, but I see it, and that is enough. From that moment, Steele bent to his belief. You must now do the same. It is not enough to have a vague notion of what you want. You must engrave your aim into your spirit with the hammer of daily declaration. You must write a creed, not long, not poetic, but final. A single sentence that says with fire and finality what you are building in these 90 days. One line, one command, one anchor that turns your mind from the winds of doubt and nails it to the mast of your purpose. Say it aloud. Carry it in your mouth until your bones believe it. Speak it in the morning before the world whispers its worries. Speak it at night before your sleep is claimed by the chaos of dreams. Let this creed become your compass. All decisions must bow before it. All distractions must perish in its light. The subconscious mind does not submit to logic. It submits to repetition. That is the sacred law. It is not persuaded by facts. It is trained by rhythm. You must repeat your creed so often that your very breath remembers it. You must wear it in your chest like armor. You must speak it with the voice of one who has already arrived. Now let us give this instruction form. Create a goal card. Write your 90-day aim in bold ink on a small firm card. It must fit in your wallet or pocket. You must carry it with you at all times, not as decoration, but as declaration. This is not a novelty. It is a weapon. When doubt enters your mind, pull out the card. When fatigue seeks your spirit, hold it again. When distraction calls, read it aloud. Your goal card is your blade against the enemy of drift. In the beginning, you may feel foolish. Speak anyway. In the early days, the words may not feel true. Say them still. Faith is not feeling. Faith is movement in defiance of feeling. Speak your creed until it feels less like hope and more like memory, until it no longer sounds like ambition and instead echoes like identity. Now, let us train your spirit with affirmation. Repeat these aloud. Do not merely read them. Speak them with the authority of a man rising into kingship. I am the type of person who declares my destiny before I see it. I am the type of person who shapes clarity with my tongue, not my eyes. I am the type of person who carries my mission like a sword. I am the type of person who repeats truth until it becomes reality. I am the type of person who never lets the world define my direction. These are not simply words, they are contracts. When you speak them, you must obey them. When you repeat them, you must match them. Do not whisper them, proclaim them. Understand this. Men do not drift into victory, they drive into it. And the steering wheel of your spirit is speech. If you do not take the wheel, others will. Society, fear, mediocrity. All of them stand ready to assign you a path if you do not boldly take your own. The man who becomes something in 90 days is not the man who casually affirms. He is the man who speaks as one under divine command. His creed is not a hope. It is a hammer. Each morning he strikes the bell of destiny with it. Each night he rings it again, and the sound of it awakens everything in him that had fallen asleep during years of passive living. Your creed is your crown in sentence form. Wear it as such. Write it. Speak it. Carry it. And walk in such a way that the world has no choice but to confirm what your voice has already decreed. Let us continue. In the next part, we will destroy the lie that progress comes in time. For in truth, it comes in focus, and you shall learn how 90 days of singular devotion will outperform decades of scattered dreaming. Discomfort is not your enemy. It is the herald of your ascent. It is the invisible trumpet that announces to the worthy man, you are standing before the gate. Yet most men, upon hearing that trumpet, turn back. They mistake the discomfort for a warning when it is in fact a signpost. They confuse resistance for danger when it is truly direction. Discomfort does not appear to those who are lost in drift. It appears only to those who are finally walking towards something with power. There is a sacred law in the universe. Nothing worth possessing is reached without the crossing of a threshold, and every threshold is guarded by resistance. Not the resistance of armies, but of thoughts. Not the resistance of men, but of moods. Resistance is the invisible test administered to those who dare claim more than comfort. And you must now be ready to pass it daily. Let us not make this merely poetic. Understand it with clarity. The moment you move with decisiveness toward your aim, resistance will rise. It may take the form of fatigue or interruption or criticism or fear. You may wake one morning with fire, and by noon feel the fog of uncertainty. Do not be fooled. This is not failure. It is the friction that polishes faith. It is the pressure that shapes persistence into proof. Thomas Edison, the great inventor whose name is etched into the fabric of human progress, did not reach his triumph in ease. He failed, it is said, over 1,000 times before producing the light that banished night. But was it failure? Or was each apparent defeat another blow of the hammer shaping the sword of victory? I tell you it was the latter. Each sparkless experiment, each shattered design brought him closer, not further, from the bulb that would change history. Edison did not retreat at discomfort. He made it his apprentice. Now you must do the same. For the next 90 days, let discomfort become your compass. Let it guide your attention, not repel it. The rule is this: do one uncomfortable act daily in pursuit of your definite aim. Do not seek ease. Seek confrontation. Confront what weak men avoid. Confront what your former self feared. The throne of destiny is guarded by discomfort, and only those who step forward will be crowned. You shall now create a resistance list. Each week, write down 3 tasks you've been avoiding. These are not mere chores. These are thresholds. They are the locked doors behind which your advancement waits. You know what they are, perhaps a difficult conversation, perhaps a financial decision, perhaps a risk you have postponed with noble excuses. Do not delay another day. Write them down. Face them one by one each day if you can, or at the very least, one each week. This is how a man earns his momentum, not in strategy, but in struggle. Let me make this clear. Confidence is not inherited. It is not gifted at birth. It is not written in bloodlines. It is forged by choice. Every man who stands tall in the face of challenge did not begin so. He became so. And the becoming was not sweet. It was sour. It was sweat. It was trembling hands knocking on doors he once feared. But after the knock came the shift. After the act came the ascension. When you face discomfort deliberately, daily, you become more than capable. You become dangerous to doubt, to delay, to the average life you were never meant to live. A man who walks through fire every day fears no heat. That is what you shall become, and it begins now. Write this into your daily planner. What resistance shall I conquer today? Let it be a part of your morning ritual. Let your schedule include not only meetings and duties, but discomforts. Invite them in. Dine with them. Show them who you are. And soon they will kneel before you. Speak these affirmations aloud. Do not whisper them, for whispering is the voice of fear. Speak as one who builds. I am the type of person who advances through resistance. I am the type of person who makes discomfort my discipline. I am the type of person who walks toward the fire, not away from it. I am the type of person who converts fear into fuel. I am the type of person who becomes stronger with every step through struggle. These are not merely statements. They are activations. They are internal switches you must flip until your very nature conforms to your mission. Do not wait until you feel brave to say them. Say them until bravery becomes your atmosphere. And let me warn you, if you neglect this part, if you shy away from discomfort, you will not drift slightly. You will spiral. For nothing invites despair more quickly than the avoidance of growth. And nothing invites power more quickly than the embrace of resistance. The man who moves in defiance of fear gains authority. The man who waits for ease dies with excuses. You have 90 days to rebuild the temple of your spirit, and discomfort is the chisel. Tomorrow you shall meet a new form of refinement. But today, begin with the act you've been avoiding. Begin with the thing that makes your pulse quicken and your breath shallow. Begin and watch your posture change. For it is written, the man who steps forward, despite trembling knees, soon walks with the stride of kings. Most failures do not occur in the storm. They occur in the stillness, not because the man lacks skill, but because he cannot stand the sound of silence. You see, the true enemy is not always the critic who raises his voice. It is the absence of voices altogether. It is in that empty space where no applause is heard, no reward is visible, no companion stands beside you, that the weak man turns back. He interprets quiet as rejection, stillness as death. But the wise man knows better. He knows that silence is the furnace. It is the holy chamber in which the spirit is tested, purified, and prepared for command. Solitude is not emptiness. It is the throne room where kings are forged. No crown ever descended upon a distracted man. It is in the absence of noise that decisions gain weight. It is when all outer voices are hushed that the inner voice is finally heard. Most men run from solitude. They run toward distraction, toward constant movement, toward noise. But distraction is not your ally. It is the opiate of the drifting soul. And noise, if not mastered, will rob you of the whispers that were meant to guide you to destiny. You must now learn to dwell in silence as a ruler sits upon his throne. Do not fear it. Do not resist it. Invite it daily. Appoint it as your sacred appointment with self. For the next 90 days, you shall set aside 15 minutes each day, no more, no less, for absolute solitude. No sound, no music, no conversation, no notes. Just you, seated or standing, eyes open or closed, with your full attention married to your definite chief aim. If your mind wanders, guide it back. If doubt rises, speak faith silently within. In that stillness, you are not wasting time. You are purchasing power, for it is in that space where clarity arrives, dressed as simplicity. Consider Abraham Lincoln. During the darkest hours of the Union, when the country was being torn at the seams by war and division, Lincoln was not surrounded by cheering crowds. He was surrounded by shadows of doubt, of pressure, of monumental decisions that no man had ever faced before him. But what made him immovable was not just his mind, but his time in silence. History tells us he would sit alone for hours, staring not at walls, but into the furnace of thought. It was there that resolve hardened. There in stillness that he decided the fate of a nation. His power came not only from speeches or armies, but from silence conquered and turned into command. So too shall it be with you. Make solitude your throne. You shall not rise without it. Begin each day, or end it, whichever you prefer, with this sacred time. Protect it as you would a child. Mark it on your calendar. Defend it from interruption. And once you enter that space, do not beg for answers. Simply dwell, breathe, see the vision of your dream fulfilled. Hear your name written into history. Let yourself sit inside the outcome before it arrives in sight. When the 15 minutes conclude, write one sentence of command, not of hope, not of theory, of command. One sentence that affirms the path ahead. It may be simple. I am moving with boldness toward the business that bears my name. Or, today, I advance toward the man my family will remember. One sentence, daily, written by your own hand. These sentences will become the bricks of your fortress. They will serve as proof that each day was lived not in reaction, but in intention. Let us affirm now. Speak them aloud, for silence must also be ruled by sound. I do not run from silence, I rule in it. Solitude crowns me where noise would corrupt me. I am the architect of clarity, and I meet it daily in stillness. My vision is louder in silence than the world's shouts. I emerge from solitude as a king emerges from his chambers, decided, calm, and certain. Do not underestimate the might of this discipline. It is where spiritual mastery begins. If a man cannot sit with himself, he will never lead others. If a man cannot calm his mind, he will forever chase answers from broken sources. This is not optional. This is your sanctification. This is the crucible in which your identity becomes unshakable. There will be days where you resist the solitude. You will tell yourself there is too much to do, too many urgencies to address. On those days, remember this: solitude is not in the way. It is the way. The man who misses a meeting loses minutes. The man who misses solitude loses momentum. So sit, dwell, breathe, decide, and write. And remember, you do not rise to greatness by accident. You rise because you have dared to dwell in the places most men flee. Where others escape into the noise, you must reign in the quiet. For the dream you are chasing was not born in a crowd. It was born in the chambers of your soul, and it is there that it must be fed. Now begin. Today. Enter the silence. And do not emerge until you have left a trace of command behind. A man can move all day and still go nowhere. He can sweat, strive, and spin, only to fall asleep exhausted and unfulfilled. Why? Because action by itself is not the master key. It is not the volume of movement that yields power. It is the harmony of that movement with the spirit that commissioned it. The world is full of men who have labored their bodies to ruin, but never aligned their inner world with the aim they were sent to pursue. Their hands were busy, but their heart was adrift. And when the spirit is forgotten, labor becomes slavery. Motion without mission is the surest path to weariness. The time has come to distinguish between mere hustle and holy movement, between effort that drains and effort that declares. There is a difference, and it is one of the greatest secrets the successful have known across centuries. Andrew Carnegie did not wake and run blindly into the noise of the day. Henry Ford did not rush into meetings without first standing in stillness. Thomas Edison did not plunge into experimentation before aligning his inner vision with the work ahead. Their productivity was not random. It was spiritual. It was governed by law. And so shall yours be if you wish to build a legacy that outlives your sweat. There are 3 laws of spiritual productivity. Obey them, and you will see your energy compound. Break them, and you will confuse busyness for progress until the very end. The first law, alignment precedes movement. Before the world can bend, you must bow. Bow not to fear nor to pressure, but to your inner vision. The man who begins his day without alignment is like a ship without a compass. He may be fast, but he is not faithful to any direction. To align is to return home, to recall who you are, why you walk, and who has sent you. Alignment means remembering your definite chief aim before any task is touched. It means allowing your purpose to clothe your posture, your voice, and your intent before the day unfolds. It is the spiritual version of dressing for battle. Your first act each morning must not be accidental. It must be deliberate. Rise with declaration, not distraction. Do not reach for noise. Do not check on the opinions of others before you check on the vow you made to yourself. Stand, breathe, and speak aloud your definite chief aim, not as a plea, but as a proclamation. This day is mine. My aim is worthy. I am the man for this assignment. Let those words echo into your day like the sound of a general's trumpet. Begin no act before you have crowned yourself in identity. The second law, gratitude activates favor. There is a power in thanksgiving that logic cannot touch. Gratitude is not an emotion. It is a decision. It is the manly recognition that all things are working together, even when sight does not yet confirm it. When you wake and give thanks for what has not yet appeared, you are not deceiving yourself. You are commanding reality. Edison, long before perfecting the electric light, gave thanks for every failed filament. Why? Because he knew each failure was not a stop, but a step. Ford, when building his plants in fields where others saw only dust and debt, gave thanks for the assembly line before the first screw was turned. Gratitude makes room for results. It is the language of faith in action. So each morning after alignment, give thanks, not only for what is, but for what shall be. Say aloud, I give thanks for the outcome that already belongs to me. List them, if you must. Speak of the business, the strength, the clarity, the wealth, the influence, the legacy, as if it is already unfolded. Gratitude in advance is a form of spiritual audacity, and the world responds to the man bold enough to thank it before it bends. The third law, repetition builds authority. A single declaration may start the fire, but only daily repetition keeps it alive. The subconscious mind does not respond to what is said once. It responds to what is rehearsed, carved, and etched into the spirit by discipline. Repetition is not vain. It is vital. Every man of greatness has had rituals. They may differ in form, but not in function. Ford would walk alone and speak aloud the efficiency he envisioned. Carnegie would recite to himself the value of service before he earned his first great commission. Repetition is the hammer that breaks the wall between potential and power. Therefore, install the daily rhythm. It shall go as follows. Morning alignment, declare your definite chief aim aloud. Crown yourself before the day begins. State your gratitude for the future you are building. Midday recommitment. At noon, or the halfway point of your labor, pause for just 2 minutes. Close your eyes, speak your creed again, and remember your vow. Do not wait until weariness sets in. Midday is where most men lose the flame. Rekindle it. Evening review. Before you rest, take a blank page and answer this. What 3 movements did I make today toward my dream? Write them, speak them, and affirm them. If none exist, make one before sleep. This daily rhythm will keep you spiritually aligned while others drift. You will no longer wonder why some men rise and others remain in circles. The answer lies not in genius nor in luck, but in daily obedience to invisible law. You are not meant to guess your way forward. You are meant to govern it. And let this be your final warning for this part. You must obey your spirit before the world will obey your will. The man who demands from the outside what he has not commanded from within is always disappointed. His demands echo into a void. But the man who governs his day from the inside, his decisions, his posture, his words, his thoughts, finds that the world must yield. For the world has no choice but to mirror the man who moves with inner authority. So speak now. Recite these affirmations not with passivity, but with dominion. I rise in alignment, not confusion. I give thanks before the harvest, and so the harvest comes. I repeat power into my soul until it cannot be denied. My day obeys me because I have first obeyed my spirit. Where others drift, I declare. The next 90 days shall not be lived by accident. They shall be lived by decree. Your action will no longer be frantic. It will be sacred. Your movement will no longer be for applause. It will be for authority. And every result that appears, every gate that opens, every hand that reaches, every door that swings, is not a miracle. It is a mirror. It is reflecting the man you chose to be daily. Let the others labor without aim. Let them rise and run and collapse from exhaustion. You, however, will build with ease, not because the road is easy, but because you are aligned. And when the clock strikes day 90, the world will not ask how you rose. It will only recognize that you did. And you will know the truth. The Spirit built it first. The hands simply followed. There is no man who builds something of worth without first learning to protect it. Just as the farmer guards his field, just as the inventor guards his idea, so too must the dreamer build a fence around his vision. The path to your definite chief aim is not only a path of creation, it is a path of protection. For mediocrity is no passive force. It does not sit idly as you rise. It waits in silence, cloaked in comfort, eager to re-enter the throne of your mind. And if you are not vigilant, it will speak to you through voices you trust, thoughts you think are your own, and delays that masquerade as prudence. A man's dream is not stolen in a single strike. It is eroded, worn down by daily compromise, by companionship that flatters but does not challenge, and by subtle postponements that feel harmless until it is too late. And so the 8th law of this 90-day journey is this: guard the dream, not once, but daily, not in theory, but in action. You must become the watchman of your own purpose, because if you do not defend it, no one will. There are 3 enemies of every dream. They do not always appear with menace. They do not knock loudly, but they are thieves all the same. They enter the mind gently and exit with your destiny in their hands. You must learn to see them, name them, and expel them before they make a home inside you. The first enemy is the doubtful companion. He is the one who does not strike directly, but who questions softly. He warns when you move boldly. He suggests caution when you declare commitment. He will never call himself your enemy. He will often wear the title of friend, mentor, even family. But if his words shrink your belief, if his tone seeds uncertainty, then he is not walking your path. Understand this: you do not owe access to those who delay your ascension. Carnegie did not surround himself with doubters. He handpicked men whose minds burned with belief, whose words multiplied movement. He formed what I have long taught as the mastermind, a circle of harmony, built not on comfort, but on aligned vision. Every man who stood close to him knew the aim and added to it. There were no jesters near the throne. To remove the doubtful companion is not an act of cruelty, it is an act of spiritual hygiene. Do not argue, do not defend, simply reduce proximity, withdraw energy, let your silence declare your direction. If you continue to engage with those who shrink your vision, you are not noble, you are naive. You cannot run with lions if you breakfast with sheep. The second enemy is the drifting thought. Unlike the companion, this one is internal. It whispers when you rise. It questions when you plan. It plants the notion that perhaps you are moving too fast, dreaming too large, risking too much. These thoughts often wear the garments of logic. They will say, be reasonable. They will say, maybe later. But understand, a thought that tells you to delay what your spirit has confirmed is not a protector. It is a saboteur. Drifting thoughts are dangerous, not because they shout, but because they linger. A man who allows doubt to sit in his mind even for an hour has already surrendered a piece of his power. Thoughts are like seeds. Left unchecked, they root. Watered with repetition, they bloom. And soon you will find yourself explaining to others why you have not moved, why you are waiting, why the time is not yet right. You must learn to expel such thoughts as soon as they arrive. Speak aloud the truth of your commitment. Strike the doubt with declaration. When a drifting thought says, what if it doesn't work? You say, what if I conquer? When it says, this is too much, you say, I was born for this. You cannot always prevent their arrival, but you can always deny them lodging. The mind must be trained, as a soldier is trained, to detect intruders and respond without hesitation. And the third enemy is delayed action. This is the most deceptive of all, because it often feels like planning. It feels like preparation. But make no mistake, delayed action is not the prelude to movement. It is its assassin. When you know what must be done and yet you wait, you are not pausing, you are decaying. Men do not lose their dreams because they lack ability. They lose them because they hesitate after clarity. Delayed action is the choice to give the dream back to the world, to say, I am not ready, even when all of life has pointed and said, you are. There is a cost to hesitation, and it is almost never visible in the moment. But over weeks, over months, it compounds. The opportunity moves on, the door closes, the inner fire cools, and what was once destiny becomes a dull memory of what could have been. Therefore, your rule must be this: move faster than fear. If the aim is clear, act before the shadow of doubt has time to speak. Do not wait to be perfect. Act and perfect as you go. Ford did not wait for the perfect automobile before he built. Edison did not wait for the perfect formula before he tested. Each great man moved on conviction and allowed correction to walk with him. Now your assignment is twofold. First, audit your environment. Walk through the landscape of your life as a general inspects a battlefield. Look at your companions. Who must be silenced? Whose words do not belong in your ears this season? Who drains you with questions that feed fear? Make the necessary distance. You do not need a crowd. You need a council. Next, audit your atmosphere. What in your space reminds you of the old self? The weaker version? The man who doubted, who waited, who delayed? Remove it. Replace it. Place in your environment visible signs of your new identity, words that affirm, symbols that ignite. Let your space prophesy your future. Lastly, examine your delay. What task have you postponed that would have already moved you forward? Write it down, and do it now, not later, not when conditions feel perfect. Action is not an event. It is the birthright of the decided. And say these words aloud, not once, but daily. I cut off the voice of doubt, even if it wears the mask of a friend. I silence the drifting thoughts that once governed my pace. I do not wait, I advance. My companions multiply my courage. My delay dies in my decision. This is no longer the time to protect feelings. It is the time to protect futures. You must choose your dream or their comfort, your vision or their voice, your advancement or your excuses. The man who guards nothing loses everything, but the man who guards his aim with vigilance becomes unstoppable. So rise now, not just as a dreamer, but as a defender of the dream. And for the next 90 days, treat your vision not as a hope, but as a fortress, and woe unto anything that attempts to breach it. You have arrived at the final gate, but this gate is not one of summary. It is one of commission. For what is the use of a man learning the laws of greatness if he refuses to live by them? What profit is there in hearing the voice of destiny, yet retreating into delay? Let this be known. Knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is. The man who merely collects wisdom without command over his own actions is no better than the man who has never heard the truth at all. This is why today, this moment, this very breath, you must become the man who moves. You were not born into obscurity so that you might remain there. You were born to rule over your days, to press your identity into the clay of this life, and to mold something eternal from your present season. The next 90 days, if approached with faith and unbending decision, will yield more than the last 9 years of wandering. The man who accepts this truth will rise, and the man who waits will wither. Let us bring the laws together, not as a review, but as a final commandment to your spirit. You were told first to decide, for without decision there is no foundation. To decide is not merely to want, it is to sever all alternatives, to take up your sword and to burn the bridge behind you. Andrew Carnegie decided that steel would become his empire when he had neither the land nor the labor. Kazan decided to lead when fear told him to wait. Barnes decided to become Edison's partner before he even had a voice in the room. Decision is not democratic. It requires no vote. It is the solitary act of a sovereign soul. Then you were taught to declare. A man must speak his destiny aloud, for words are the banners of the Spirit. What you do not declare, you will deny in the dark. A man who cannot declare his vision will never walk in it. Say it before the world can see it. Say it when no one else believes. Say it until the world is forced to follow the sound of your voice. Next, you were instructed to move. Faith without motion is fantasy. The dream cannot be inherited by the passive. You must act before applause. You must walk before welcome. And you must labor while others sleep. For every day that you hesitate is a day that your dream drifts further from your grip. It is not enough to know the path. You must place your feet on it and walk. Then came refinement. Every step you take is an opportunity to sharpen your identity, to strip away delay, and to deepen your conviction. You do not need perfection. You need persistence. The man who falls 7 times and rises 8 is closer to his dream than the man who planned forever but never began. Refine in solitude. Refine through struggle. Refine by obedience to the voice within.